Hey everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, personal development, helping people, and everything it takes to help you live the highest quality, most fulfilling life. I have a two-part series coming up here with Tamara Pflug, who is a personal development coach. Tamara's website is personal-development-zone.com. And her podcast, which is where I met her, is Get Confident, Get Happy. She's a wonderful woman. We're talking to her from Tel Aviv, and she also lives in Geneva. So goes between both places. And we're going to talk about nonviolent communication, a little bit about motivation in this two-part series. Nonviolent communication is a method of speaking to connect with what's alive in other people, founded by Marshall Rosenberg. And it's a four-part series that really helps you stick to the facts, avoid judgment, and make requests so that you can get your needs met and really understanding your feelings. So tune in. Don't forget to get to both episodes. So we're going to roll into the show. I'll see you on the other side. Hello, welcome to the Totally Well Show. This is my guest, Tamara Pflug. Tamara, will you remind me of the name of your practice?
Hi, I'm Tamara. My name or my practice? What do you mean?
You have, like mine is Total Well Coach and the Totally Well Show. What is your practice name?
So my practice name, no, I'm Tamara, but I have a business and like a website about personal development that is called personaldevelopmentzone.com. And it's basically everything is organized in one place. So if you're interested into personal development, instead of Googling for every question we may ask, I'm organizing everything in one single place.
So personaldevelopmentzone.com.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have other social media places people can find you?
I'm really active on Pinterest because I love creating pins and sharing, and I receive lots of messages there. So it looks like people are really into personal development on Pinterest. So yes, I'm really on Pinterest and trying to work on other things, but Facebook too. And yeah, I would say Pinterest and Facebook are my main one so far.
Somebody who I spoke with recently on LinkedIn, who's a podcast coach, mentioned Pinterest, and he said, you'd be surprised what a good place that is for social media, what a great platform that is, if you know how to use it. So I'm going to have to ask you later about that.
For sure, we can talk about it because it's even more than social media. It's really like a search engine. So it's amazing because you type a keyword and you find, I would say, like easier, like help kind of Google basically, which is really, really amazing. And you can also connect with people, and yeah, the images, it's really visual. So it's amazing. But talk to me, I would happily help you with this stuff.
That's
really
awesome. So when we've been chatting behind the scenes, and we have so much in common, and I've been listening to your podcast, it's just your name, right? Your podcast is just by your name?
Yes, it's a Get Confident, Get Happy podcast by Tamara Pflug. So yeah, this is what you said with this is my name in my podcast. You're right.
Yeah. So Get Confident, Get Happy. You know, one of the things I've done is the Confident Women Consortium, where I've been building community.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's been more in person. But that's how I found you, I think, by typing in, looking for confident podcasts about confidence, because I wanted more ideas.
Amazing. That's amazing. Actually, people found the podcast, or like you did. This is how they found my podcast, and they're writing me email like, I just found you. Where are you from? What's your accent from? And through Pinterest. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm originally from Switzerland, Geneva. So this is why I may have a little accent when we are talking together. But like when you need to be confident, like I'm just accepting, like I'm 100% myself, like authentic. And it's one of the best feeling, I think, just to feel good about who you really are, So I embrace the accent, and I hope that people will love me or hate me, but this is me.
It's you. Well, I love you, so there.
Thank you. This I said. This is out.
That's great. And where are you now? I'm in Groton, Massachusetts. Where are you recording?
So actually, since I'm building like online businesses, I'm able to travel because I really like to travel. Like we call it slow travel. It's when you live in a city, you're not traveling every day, but you live in the city for like 2-3 weeks or months. So I was in South Africa, but now I'm back to Israel, Tel Aviv, which is my second home. The food is amazing there. You will love it. And actually, about self-confidence, it's really interesting because people are really authentic here. Maybe because of, the army, like the war. Maybe they don't have time to lose, to play games. They are really themselves. It's really
Oh,
helped me
wow.
to build my self-confidence. People are really self-confident, maybe too much, but they're really self-confident.
So it helps give you a good model. Yeah.
Yes, maybe it's like inspiring me. I'm just more saying like, why not? And it's what I'm always saying on my podcast also, that there are lots of people, that are really self-confident, and I'm not saying they have no reasons for that, but I'm just saying like, why not me? Like, why not? I'm as good as other people. This is how it started. And personal development, because I'm going back a bit in time, but I used to be a teacher. I
Yeah.
learned how primary teacher, and also how to coach. And while working like as a life coach, I also discovered that people, of course, they want to improve themselves, like they want something else. In coaching, we are really focusing on like climbing a mountain, like instead of focusing on the problem, we are really, well, you're a coach, so you know that, but really to like, what do you want instead, in a situation, instead of focusing on the problem, and then you passing, how you say that in English, like above the problem. So like you're reaching another level, which is amazing. And I realized that people, when it comes to personal development, what is really hard, at least for millennials like me, but maybe other people, it's really to feel self-confident, So this is how I got really interested in that topic. And this is how we met, you and me.
Yes, yes. So anyway, back to what we were talking about, behind the scenes, the nonviolent communication. We found out, I think you did an episode on that on your show,
Yes.
and so I realized that you knew that, and it's a subject that I had a little bit of trouble learning. I really had to slow down my thinking and my preoccupation with the title nonviolent communication, because it was hard for me to relate to everyday life, because I always thought of violence as physical.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was thinking if you could maybe give us some kind of framework of how you've come to learn it and what it is. And
Yeah, I agree that actually the term violent, it's already like showing you think like to yourself, like, but I'm not violent. Like, why do I need this? Like it's kind of contra, like the non, I really agree. So actually, yeah, nonviolent communication, I learned about this method when I was learning how to coach. And then I read more about it. I read his book, like Marshall Rosenberg, and I took also his course. I think he passed away, like he was pretty young, but he really, like, the book is really, really good.
yeah.
And yeah, then I realized that it can really help people to communicate better, because when it comes to communication, we may have like they are misunderstood, like expectations, and we would all earn more time if you would just like be straightforward, like fulfill our needs, and like, yeah, just feel better when it comes to communication. So I read more about it, and I created a PDF that I'm also sharing for free, of course. And so maybe I will go through the method and just show you like the 4 steps, because it's very easy, very straightforward, and in like 2 minutes top, I can go through it. So I will just show you how it works. And I have my little stuff to be the teacher that is inside of me, wanted to make it super clear. So this method is really, really good, because actually, as I'm always explaining, and I think that maybe you will agree with me about this, that we feel like every day on a daily basis, we feel like negative and positive emotions. And I'm talking about it a lot in my podcast, that when we feel positive emotions, it's because our needs are being met, like fulfilled. If I'm saying it the right way, translation from French. And so when we feel, for example, negative emotions, it's because we have a need that's not being met. Like, for example, someone's like being mean with us, like because we want, for example, the need to be loved, or just giving a random example like this. So this method is amazing because it's really focusing on being empathetic to the others, like understanding what the other one is feeling, like what needs isn't being met, but also towards ourselves, to be nicer with ourselves, because sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves. So this method is amazing.
Is it okay if I interrupt you just a little bit with a question?
Of course, do so. Yeah, sorry, I like to talk. You can see.
Yeah, and you talk quickly, so I just want to make sure our viewers get the I'd like to really be able to drive home the points there. So what I'm hearing is this is a method for understanding your needs and getting your own needs met, and helping others around you get their needs met. So
exactly,
it's feeling what you need, understanding what you need, and then how to get it met. Is that correct?
Exactly, and making clear demands, like to have them fulfilled and met in the end. Because we are really expecting people to know what we want them to do for us, but in the end, we will really earn time by just asking. And this is the last step of this method. You're right.
And I'm a stickler for words here because I'm trying so hard to listen to what I say because I get what I ask for. And
You're
so,
good.
I often will think demand versus request.
Good question. Yeah. What do you think about that? What would you say the difference?
Well, if I'm thinking I'm going to make a demand of somebody or somebody's going to make a demand of me, I'm thinking my rebel's going to come out. I'm not going there. And I'll get defensive versus if somebody asks me. So if you say,
Mm.
Joyce, is it okay if we, or would you be willing versus Joyce, do this. You have to do this. Especially if you
Yeah,
tell me I have to, then my little kid comes out.
exactly. I would say to me that demand, it's possible that this person may say no, when you make a demand,
Yeah.
but if this person saying no, maybe you can find another way, maybe you can ask somebody else. A request, I agree that it looks like it's really for one person, like in particular, actually.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion about the difference between a request and demand. But maybe I have really a really good example for the exactly facts and actions.
Yeah.
So facts and actions, it's to be specific about what's going on in the situations and not misinterpretations like I think that, to be really specific. So I gave the example of someone that is leaving socks everywhere in the house, and the other person is getting annoyed and stressed by the fact that there are socks everywhere. So this person may, for example, the first one that is facts, she may say, for example, when you come home, you are taking off your socks and leaving them in several places. So as you can see, it's really like super specific on facts. There's absolutely nothing about like interpretation. It's really what's going on. The socks are everywhere. So the step number 2 of this method, which is really good, is the feelings. So feelings in this moment, the second step of this method, it's super clear. So to ask yourself, how does this situation make you feel? To really share with the person. So with the example of the socks, this person could say, when I see the socks in several places, I'm feeling stressed and annoyed. So already like here, you already feel like the person is taking responsibility of the way she's feeling, So it's amazing. And the third step is about needs. So needs, it's really about expressing what need isn't being fulfilled in that moment. In the example of the socks, she might say, I need to be organized and to see that everything is in its place. It makes me feel peace and quiet. So the person is really understanding what need is being fulfilled inside of them, like to understand and to share and to be able to find a solution. And the fourth and last step is, it will be just easier if I'm telling you like this, the first step is make a clear demand. This is what we talked about, request or demands, which is, please, Lucas, for example, when you take off your socks, can you please put them straight in the dirty bag? And this situation, it looks like it's super easy because it's just socks in the room. But when you think about it, for example, people being on their phone with like the spouse or like a partner, you can also start like this, just by saying, right now you are on your phone. It makes me feel like this. My need of spending time with you isn't being met. Please, can we have an hour per night when you're not on your phone? And you will tell me what you think about this method, but the good thing is that even if the other person isn't into personal development and isn't really understanding all of these methods and everything, it just makes you more like taking responsibility of the way you feel, and it looks like you are the problem here, you are the problem, instead of saying just on the phone all the time or your socks are everywhere, which is kind of offending, the other one is not gonna take it well.
So a couple of areas where when I was learning this technique where I got jammed up, it took me a little while to really wrap my head around it. One was about understanding truly what a feeling is and owning it. And the other was the difference between, there was actually three. There was the difference between a demand and a request. And that's kind of tied to the idea of judgment. So so those are, so the feeling piece of it, do you want to talk about that? So for example, I could say, supposing I made an arrangement to do this show with you today and you didn't show up. I could say, Tamara, I'm disappointed, or I feel disrespected, maybe like that. And so that sounds to me, now that I know nonviolent communication, like it's a backhanded judgment.
But I would say to me, like, probably because I'm more familiar with the method, which can be anyone that is using this method like a few times, like everything, it's a skill and you can just learn it.
Yeah.
But it's really like, I see it when you're saying this, for example, disappointed or disrespected, it's because you basically, it's becoming your problem. Like, I mean, because you are responsible for the way you're feeling. So when you're feeling disrespected, and it says about your values, which doesn't excuse a minute that I didn't show up and that I made you feel this way. But this is interesting because then when you look at this way, instead of just focusing on the feeling, you're also focusing, this is what's going on inside of me, which this is what I'm saying all the time about feelings and emotions. It's basically just the light, like what's going on inside of you to understand. But then it's amazing because it's really helping you to know, like, you're feeling this way. Do you want to feel something else instead? And then you are focusing the second and third step of this method, that are like feelings and then needs. They're amazing to be like self-aware of what's going on. But then there is the one that is more action oriented. So for example, now you told me that you felt disrespected. I hope you're not. If you feel disrespected, for example, or disappointed, like, can you try to think what do you want instead? And if you could, because of the need that is not being fulfilled or met, this is how I would look at it. If I answer to the questions, I hope.
Yeah. Well, so for the comment I made about feeling disrespected, that really sounds to me more like a judgment on you and not really getting to how I feel. If I don't get to how I really feel, I won't be able to get my needs met. Right?
This is how,
Is that
exactly.
correct?
This is because the funniest thing is that actually, and it's also when you are conflict or fighting with someone, it doesn't really say about, in my opinion, about, for example, the fact that you feel disrespected. In the end, it's not really my fault. It's because you have this feeling. There are people who are not showing up. They are super happy, the other one, because they can go home, So it really says, this is why we are reacting differently in different situations, because of the thoughts we have about it, So the fact that somebody is not on time makes you think that, like, people are supposed to be on time, which I agree. But then
but it's not really a feeling. It isn't even a feeling at all. Whereas what I might be feeling could be sad or confused, or
I would still say, actually, it's funny because we should all learn at school, already a list of feelings, and then we will understand better what's going on inside of us. So I would still say that disappointed and can be feeling, but then to understand, like, why do you feel this way, and like.
Well, disappointed, I think, could be a feeling, but maybe I was confusing those because it's more the feeling disrespected that I don't think is a feeling. I think that is a judgment, and it's my ego interfering with my identifying my own feeling.
Okay.
Right, more protective. So if I felt, so if I felt sad or I felt confused or scared, maybe you're supposed to be someplace and you're not, and maybe something happened and you needed help, or who knows what it is. But but then I can go on from my feeling. So say my feeling is sad, that I feel sad that you're not there. What do I do next with that action? Because I identify my need then, because I need what?
So again, because it depends, because in the situation of nonviolent communication, since it's really the first steps, it's really the person that is feeling this feeling is supposed to, like, again, make a demand. So I would ask you, like, if I would be the other one, and I have actually no idea about nonviolent communication. So you told me I was late. Step number one. Oh, I didn't show up. Step number one. Step number two, you feel disrespected, which could be a judgment. I really hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So let's say I said it the right way or the best way. Say I felt sad.
Okay. Yeah. It's okay. You feel sad. So what need would you say isn't being met at this moment? What would you say? What need when you're feeling sad?
Okay. So because I feel sad because I have the need to
Maybe it could be.
It's important to me to meet my commitments, and I feel sad when that doesn't happen, or confused when that doesn't happen. That's
Okay.
my need to be on time, show up for what I promise I'm going to do.
Like reliable and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Trustworthy. Yeah, I
yeah,
understand. So, and in this moment, since this method is really about responsibility, like of or the way we are feeling,
yeah,
would you, outside of the fact who you're talking to, because this is what's happening, it made you feel this way, which doesn't, no matter what I'm gonna say so far, like it's not gonna change the way you're feeling right now.
yeah,
So what would you ask, like the demand here about the socks, she's asking, or he's asking the person to just put the socks in a dirty bag, which is not asking for too much, but what would you ask, you think about like the fact being sad, or you just want me, actually it's also possible that I will just say I'm really sorry, and there are lots of people that are always bringing excuses, apologizing, but sometimes you just need to hear the other person and say like, yeah,
yeah.
I was
I
just
might
wrong.
just say, in that case, this is really important to me. It's one of my core values. It's really important to me. And would you be willing to, whatever that, either let me know if you can't make it, or would you, um, go and make sure you don't make the commitment with me if you really can't do it? Because a lot of times people will, right? They might just say, oh yeah, I'll see you, and then not show up, or
It's true.
so being very
It's true.
clear about why I need it, why it's important to me, and would you be willing, as opposed to a judgment, which might be, you're unreliable.
Exactly. And the fact, actually, it's funny you're using this example of sadness, because it's really something that we're usually saying, like, I'm sad because of you. And the other one is like, he really wants to help, but he's also offended. He's like, he's being blamed, like it's super hard. So this method, what is amazing is because the first is really about actions, like you're really specific on what happened without misinterpreting, like, you just didn't show up. Like, actually it's really like actions, what's happened, like you didn't show up. And then when you talk about feelings and needs, this is what Marshall Rosenberg, the one that is the origin of the method,
Yeah,
is really trying to share, that to be more empathetic, like that, to make the other one really feel for you, that when you're sharing, this is how you feel, and the need that is not being fulfilled, even if you cannot say it, probably it is word at work, but already starting by making the other one see that you're just a human being, and like this is what you really want, and then make a demand, is like, if you're talking to someone who has also a heart, you will probably get more results. This is what he's saying, that it works really good with kids also, because sometimes we ask kids, just put your shoes, but actually, like, put on your shoes, or put your shoes away. They're just kids, they don't do it on purpose. And then you see the positive intention of everyone, that they're just trying, everybody's trying to have their needs met. And with kids, is really showing that it's working really good, because you're saying like, your shoes are exactly the sock situation, and the
yeah,
other one is more willing to make an effort, because they almost feel, there is something I read about this, that people really, they like to be asked for favor, or like for service, or for help, they feel really useful, so when you're doing it, bringing it this way, it's really like, and I've been using it at home with someone that is not into personal development, that doesn't believe in coaching,
yeah, yeah.
and he's just eating it, like he's just good at this.
So I think Marshall Rosenberg calls it, he says, what's alive in you? That, like, finding
Exactly.
out. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because now what I'm telling you, and this is really touching me super deep, because I feel like, emotions or needs, we telling you, like, you're not, maybe like anger, for example, you're not supposed, like, just how we say, like, not to feel the anger, like not to, or like your needs, you just need to work, you just need to do this, like we are not, it's exactly what Marshall Rosenberg is talking about, that we need to also understand what's going on inside of us, like, and what's going on in everybody else. And like, it's really being authentic, being ourselves, and really, yeah, trying to fulfill our needs and expressing our emotions, like, really, yeah, what's alive in you, because we are really, think we're really turning this off, and we should at school, like, push the kids to say, how are you feeling,
And as you were speaking to it, made me think that there might even be an opportunity for me to make sure everything okay. Like I might have jumped to a conclusion or made a judgment, whereas if I just stick with how I feel, and that ownership of how I feel, then I could say, I could ask, was everything okay, or validate or verify.
For sure. And actually, when you went through all the steps with saying you're sad, in the end, and you're asking, so would you maybe next time show up? Or like, I would really appreciate, reliability is important to me. Like, you will never see people really like fighting or somebody saying no when you're really sharing about the way you're feeling, like the other one. Or if you really, it's not always easy to talk about feelings with everyone, I know. But then when you say like, maybe, are you okay? Like, what happened? Did something happen, you know, about the fact that because you didn't show up, like, how are you feeling? I don't know. I feel like when people, and they're just, I always say that people just want to be seen, heard, and understood. So I don't think there is a place for real conflict in this moment when we really follow the first steps of just like, yeah, what's alive in you and why do you feel this way? And then you first taking responsibility of it, and second asking for help, you know. Then it's true that there are people that won't maybe want to help you, but most of the people it's working. I told you, with someone that is not interested. So because you're talking to the heart, you know, deep inside.
So I guess judgment's a big piece of it, you know, to remove the judgment part of it to help so that the person doesn't go first to defending.
Exactly. And exactly defending, and to the person will be offended, you know, when you're really bringing back the problem to I, you know, in coaching, we always say like I instead of the you know, like you did it. But when you take responsibility of the way like you're feeling, like in French we have this like le tu qui, like the you that is killing, you know, because it's the same word, like tu qui tu. So it's really an expression that everybody remember, but it's really this like you taking with this method, the first steps, you taking responsibility of it. And tell you, there's nobody, they almost feel like it's not their problem when in fact it could be manipulation.
Yeah. No, can you say a little bit more about that?
About manipulation?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say that. I'm trying to like share something that is working for people. What are you doing, Joyce? The total well coach. No, what do you, because manipulation.
Well, I was just curious about what somebody could be doing instead of the healthier version, what they might be. Do you mean that they might be trying to control the other person, or?
Not too much. Like I would say basically that with these first steps, when you think about it, no, I think that actually maybe not, because down the line, like with this method, you really just want you to feel better when you think about like yourself. But I'm just saying that you're using a kind of a method, a technique that in the end you still want to change in the behavior of the other one, you know, like the
I get what you mean now. I didn't understand you at first, but it's not like malevolent manipulation. It's just being emotionally intelligent.
Exactly. No, manipulation, I know, because it can be a bad word, like pejorative or good word. But no, I'm just meant it that usually, you know, it depends also. But if you're not hurting the other one and you're trying your best just to feel better, like it can be manipulative. But I agree, it's supposed to be just good. And when you think about it, when you talk really about the right feeling, the right like events that happen, like you're really into the action, the needs, and you make clear demands, there's no manipulation because you're focusing on what's really happening inside of you and in the situation.
Yes. So,
but it's a great method for self-confidence also, I think, you know, because you are really more in control of the way you feel, you know yourself better, you know.
You mentioned confidence. I know there's the example of using, we were chatting earlier about using nonviolent communication as part of, you know, somebody coming in for weight loss or for nutrition coaching, or so they don't even realize that this is behind it, this layer behind it. So what do you think?
Yes, definitely. Like it can be really, for sure, I agree with you that they can come with something like this, and then actually the justice method can be used for everything, for sure, just to communicate better and to get the needs fulfilled. So yeah.
Development in general, like how you might use the tool.
Yeah, for sure. Because what I would say also is that, of course, the method, it's the best to use it from step 1 to step 4. But what is already amazing, it's also just to understand. And there are people that, I don't know, maybe your people are really into personal development, but sometimes even feelings, we are not aware, like we're not self-aware of what's going on really inside of us. And this method is really helping us, instead of, like you said, maybe the first step would be to judge the other one. It's also, you know, I always like to say, like, take the best and leave the rest. So if you're already taking from this method, like people think that it's good, like too good, it depends on what you want to get. But if you want like a change, like a different result, to maybe to share the way you're feeling, then what need is not being fulfilled, and really to make a clear demand, because a lot of people, it can come, you know, when we want a gift, for example, or anything, it's super, we're really expecting the other one to know what what we're gonna want, what like, yeah. So for this, I think it's already amazing to take even 2 steps of the method, you know, just to know how you're feeling, what needs you're having, and I think this is already great. Then if you can follow the 4 steps of the method, it's the best no matter what situation you may be in, even at work, even the kids. Marshall is always saying it's working amazing with kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed our episode with Tamara Pflug, Get Confident, Get Happy podcast and personal-development-zone.com. We talked about nonviolent communication in part 1 and part 2. This is the Totally Well Show and your host, Joyce Strong. Thanks for tuning in.